Hello everybody, welcome back to another exciting baby powder report. This is Julian reporting in from the police station this time. I'm just visiting. I haven't been arrested. I'm actually friends with them now, so it's all good. No, I just like changing the background sometimes. I don't know why. I gotta find a better one. I actually want to do some kind of like CoffeeZilla background, but I haven't found one I like yet, so I'm just using random fun ones. A lot we're gonna go over today. So last week I made a few predictions of what I expected to happen. It didn't exactly come true to the letter, but it followed the general path that I sort of laid out. So we're going to go through that. We're going to look at what's going on with the breath. We're going to look at what's going on post FOMC with all the craziness in the market. SPX, Bitcoin, DXY, gold. Gold's on quite the tear. Not really surprised about that. VIX is really important. Those are the main ones I want to look at. I also think we had a big, something came out with the news. We're going to look at the numbers and we're going to talk about those too. I'm going to shrink myself as always, and then we will get into the show. All right, let me shrink myself here. Right here. Okay, a little bit smaller. Really small. No, I could go like this somewhere here. I think this is good. Let's get rid of the police car. And boop, 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 boop. Police car. All right, and we've got my screen. And we can see the S&P is dumping hard today, almost down almost a full percent. But first, I want to look at what's going on in the news, what caused this drop. So what came out today? We had unemployment claims. Okay, basically a nothing burger. Not a big deal. Wait, actually, preliminary non-farm was way less, and unit labor cost was a little bit higher. So that is interesting. But the main one, unemployment claims, not that different, a little bit higher than forecasts. But the real interesting thing was yesterday, where we had the FOMC, right? They raised the rates, and then they said they're not going to raise any more rates, which we knew was going to happen. Not really surprised there, but I think the big thing this week that came out was where is the number? Employment change at 0.8% quarter over quarter. That was a big beat. Unemployment rate was the same. Where is the non-farm employment change? This was a big one. Okay, this is not something that the central banks want to see. They don't want to see huge employment happening right now. They're trying to essentially crash the economy. They're trying to get things to really slow down, and things are not necessarily slowing down. Like unemployment should be increasing. That's what we want to see to a degree. We want to see serious slowdown, and that's not what's being reflected here. So that's a big concern, and it's definitely maybe a part of the reason why the market is pausing, because the market's like, well, that's not what we want to see. So maybe the Fed might raise more, even though in the recent announcement, they removed any language saying they're going to keep raising rates. So I guess we'll see what's going to happen. That's the news. What do we have on Friday? We have some other news on Friday. What's coming out Friday? Friday. Unemployment, non-farm employment change again, average hourly earnings, and unemployment rate. Okay, so we had the ADP one, and then we're going to have the regular one. We'll see what these numbers come out as. I'm guessing it'll be a pretty big, semi-big beat again. We had previous, it was at 230, and they've lowered it to 180. It's interesting that they lowered the forecast so much. That's an interesting thing to me. So I'm guessing we'll probably beat that again. That's one bit of information. Breath is pointing down still. Nothing positive here. Crypto breath is pointing up, which I guess explains why Bitcoin is rallying a bit here. So when did we cross over? April 27th. We'll say April 28th is kind of, nope, 27th is when you would have gotten the long signal. So where have we gone since then? So April 27th is here, I guess here. Sear long from somewhere here. Basically at break even. Breath's just sitting there, the breath signal. So if you took the breath signal, you're just at treading water right now. Let's go back here. That's the breath. And really quick, let's look at options before we get into what's actually happening with the market. SPY. So this gives us a ballpark of where we could end up on Friday. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller. I think I'm like too big here. So I want you guys to focus on the picture, not on me. Okay, so we've got a wall at 4150, basically 4,150, and a wall at 4,100. So if they want max pain, they've got to close it basically in between there. I would say 4,150 is probably the max pain level. But interestingly, we're at 4,050 right now. Right? Is that correct? Yeah, we're at 4,050. That's very surprising considering where max pain is. So we're here, and max pain is basically up here. Very, very surprising. Oh, okay, so that keep that in mind. Let's go back. Let's talk about last week and what I thought was going to happen versus what actually happened, and then we'll talk about right now. So last week was okay, 27th. So 27th is here. I thought that we would rally to the 4100, 4120 area. And what ended up happening is we rallied all the way to 4180. Massive squeeze. Did not expect such an insane rally. You can see how we came up to this 4100, 4120 area. And this was the main resistance area. It was also max pain. And they ended up pushing through and taking out all the liquidity above. I was surprised by that. I really was. But it kind of makes sense. They pushed it higher one last time just to take out everyone and anything that was long, or I'm sorry, short. Just take them out one last time before this big breakdown. Look where they took it up to, right here. Right? They tagged the underside of this uptrending channel, which is exactly what we want to see. It's a great short setup. If I go to like an 8-hour chart, maybe we do like a 1 hour. Yeah, so I had this trend line on the 1 hour, right? So here's my 1 hour trend line. Here's the breakdown right here. Okay, and here's the tag underside of the parallel channel. So right here and right here are your short signals. Boom, short right here. Perfect. Stop above this high wick. That's it. You only get like an hour, 2 hours maybe to get that signal. And that's all you really get. I had shorts that I put on, and I exited those shorts down here. I thought that we would sit up here until next week. I'm kind of surprised that we're breaking down now. I'm not really in many shorts. I have some long-term shorts I'm still holding, but my short-term ones I exited here. And then I was waiting for consolidation, and then I was going to re-add. So interesting to see that we're dumping further. But it was a perfect short on this 1 hour time frame. Really, really nice setup. Let's go to higher time frames. Let's see what's going on a weekly chart. On a weekly chart, no breakdown yet, but you can see I had this trend line that I drew. We went above the trend line, and then we came back within. 3-day, I think, is gives you a little bit of a better view here, where you can see that we went. It's this trend line. We went slightly above it, played in this area, and finally we're dumping below. And we've also got my heuristic trend channel. If we close down here, it's a very bearish close. Very, very, very bearish move with the market. Makes sense, though, considering the VIX. The VIX it was the lowest it had been in a very long time. Obvious warning signal. And now it's just powering higher really hard. So there were a lot of signals, including on this daily chart, a divergence with the VIX, right? So if you want to see, if you're not sure about the S&P, try checking the VIX. Look at what the VIX is doing. Let me get rid of this, by the way. I don't know why I have my watch list up here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so there's your reversal. Let me open. I don't normally have YouTube open. I don't have it open right now. Let me open it. Let me get the YouTube link so I can see if anybody's talking on YouTube. Where is the YouTube link? Okay. Bring it over here. And I will bring up this. Okay, YouTube's pulled up. All right, hello everyone. Hello, Mr. Matador. Hello, Newer Production. All right, we've only got 15 people in here. Sad. Brian had like 40 the other day. I want more people. If we can get more people, it excites me. And you guys ask me questions if you have questions. Matador asked, isn't CPI coming up? I think it is. I don't see any CPI. I think maybe it's next week. Next week. Let's see. CPI. Yes. Okay. So CPI is Wednesday next week on the 10th. That's quite a ways away. Obviously, that is going to move markets, of course. So I think that goes without saying. I've talked about this frequently before, that a lot of this news is used as a liquidity hunting event. So just understand, like, things like the FOMC and stuff. There's always going to be a move in both directions, and it's going to be chaotic. And it's mostly used to hunt liquidity. Like, look at what they did, right? They took out the highs here. All the highs were taken out right here, almost to the highs made in January, the beginning of the year. So it makes sense that they would take out a high like that before finally reversing. Okay, so let's look at this 3-day chart and see if we can get anything from this. Here's my rising RSI. No breakdown yet, right? But the minute this starts to break down, that's when you're really, really bearish. The interesting thing is that we never really broke above this 0 line. This is a big thing. The fact that we never went above that 0 line. And if we look at this daily chart, right? This was your big reversal, right? This is just your daily. Comes up here, price comes down, reverse, tag the underside of the trend line, and head lower. The question is, where are we going? If we head lower from here, right? Which is, there's a big resistance level right here. We're at resistance, huge level. If we go lower though, we basically confirm an M top, right? This is your M. It's an ugly M top, but it's an M top. And you had divergence with RSI. Let's say this is your M top, right? Where could we end up? 3,600 is your 4.669 level. That's my conservative target. If I'm a little bit more aggressive, it's more like 3,594 is the target. I could even go as far as 3,500. So again, this major resistance area. This could be the beginning of the big reversal to the downside. So you need to be careful up here in this area. This is my little, like, orange juice type drink. Okay, so that's the S&P. It's looking pretty bearish. I don't like that. What I don't like is that the options are saying max pain is basically at a level that is quite a bit higher from where we're at now. So I don't know if this is not a good area to be shorting, honestly. This is a possible reversal area. You can see we took out the lows of this entire range. We can say this is a range. This has been a distribution range. So I've talked about many times on the shows how the market rallies for a month, and then it ranges for a month, and then it drops or rallies. So what we had was a month of a rally, and then we had a month of basically distribution, and now we're falling off to the downside. I mean, it's following the basic pattern. The thing is, we just hit a 9, right? And you don't have any divergence, but this is a major resistance level. I would watch for this level to play out a bit. I think there's some people, short-term traders, that might even long this, like on a 15-minute, right? So here's your major divergence, right? So you could long this all the way up to here, this 4100, 4115 level. I could see it bouncing. But on the higher time frames, it doesn't look good. But I really want to see a breakdown. That's why it's bouncing at this level, because this is literally a resistance level. It makes sense that it would bounce here. So if we roll over and we head lower, then that's a big sign we're going way lower. But the fact that we're holding this, we could bounce up to this 4120 level and play in this area. And then we have to see how things develop before we really get any kind of serious rollover action. It could just sit in this no man's land. Whenever RSI is around this VIP level, I consider it no man's land. and it's tough to trade because the market's basically ranging. So just understand those are your two scenarios for the S&P. We can look at the VIX, right, and see what the VIX is doing. The VIX is signaling a massive breakout. So this is kind of your VIX, right? And this would have been your beginning of your signal, first signal, and then second go long basically here. I think VIX is signaling that the market wants to roll over. Like risk off is going to take place. This is a huge breakout. If we do get a pullback, it's going to be that reversal. Like I said, we'll pull back to here on the VIX, and then we'll head higher. That's what I kind of see as a potential. Hello, Santos. So that's on the VIX, and that VIX is telling me, okay, yeah, we're going lower with the market and risk off. Let's see about DXY. DXY is the only kind of enigma because it actually broke down. It should have stayed in this uptrend, but it pulled back more than it really should have, and more than I would have liked to have seen. I don't like what I'm seeing with the US dollar here. I want to see a break above. It's just sitting down here. I need to see some kind of break above this trending heuristic channel to show that the trend changed and we're moving higher. We need that in order for the rest of the market to really roll over. So that's the one thing that I want to see that I'm not seeing. I also want to see it because I don't want to see things get more expensive in Thailand. I hate that. The main website we use for news is, at least I use, is Forex Factory. That's for all the major announcements. I think it's useful. Okay, so that's the DXY. I think it's kind of in no man's land. It's looking a little bit bearish to me. I don't like it. On the 1 hour, it's not bad. Not bad on the 1 hour at all. But I need to see a push above this trend heuristic channel to really get bullish on it. So there are definitely conflicting signals if we look at the US dollar. But VIX is saying full steam ahead. It wants to take off. Let's look at gold. So gold is interesting because gold just like rallied and pushed higher really hard. If you look at a 3-day chart and a weekly chart of gold, it's extremely bullish. However, on the weekly, we do have a 9 that's come in and printed. That's not a great signal. On a 3-day, it looks really good. On a daily, we do have this RSI downtrend line that it's finally breaking through. So I do like that I'm seeing that. Let me get rid of some of this. Let me get rid of this and get rid of this. I do like that we're pushing higher through that, but we're going to run into major resistance at 2105, and we also had resistance at 2067. It doesn't surprise me we're pulling back. Let's see on a lower time frame. On a lower time frame, it actually looks like we topped out and we're going to reverse. So this could even M out and reverse all the way down, back down to 1990. I think gold, they're really playing games here. I am bullish in the long term on gold, but in the short term, I would be very careful and I would try to play the range of this parallel channel. So at the top of this channel, you short, and at the bottom, you long, but consider doing shorts at like half the size of your longs because obviously you're in a bullish uptrend, right? So you want to take, if you're in a bullish uptrend, if you're going to short, use half size trades because the chances are your shorts are going to work out a lot less than your longs. That's just my recommendation, especially if you're in a major uptrend like gold is here. I mean, this weekly chart is insane, very bullish to the point that it's overbought and you're at a 9. Big warning signal. So be careful this week and next week with gold as long as you have this 9 signal. Wait for that to clear out. You could get just a pause and range in this area or even a pullback down to, where could gold pull back to if he wants to maintain this upward channel? See something here. Weekly upward trending channel. Okay. Something along those lines. It could pull back to 1920 area, But I would see, I think it would make sense for gold to go below 1930. Take out all the long stops, anybody that's uber bullish, something like this, and then take out all the uber bullish, and then it could take off to the 2200 area and 2300. I could see something like that easily happening with gold. It would make more sense from like a liquidity hunting standpoint. Hopefully that makes sense on gold. Daily is breaking higher though. That is the one major bullish signal. But on these lower time frames, it doesn't look fantastic. It looks like it needs a pullback. Yeah, where could we even pull back to? Right to here, 1945. Yeah, so right around the level I said, 1945, 1935. Take out these liquidity lows. Make perfect sense. Take it out, wick down, create a tail, and then reverse. Yeah. Okay, so that's gold. I think that's enough for the market. I mean, how much time are we in? I've only got 30 minutes today. We're about 20 minutes in. Do you guys want to look at like one or two stocks, or you want to go right into crypto and look at Bitcoin? Any thoughts or opinions from the peanut gallery, the YouTube gallery? Crypto. Matador wants crypto. Okay. All right, one vote. Crypto. Let's pull up Bitcoin. Bring on the dopamine. Oh, by the way, I'm supposed to say the TRI school is now open for signups, by the way. So, you know, anybody that is interested in learning how to trade, consider, you know, signing up for the school. It's only open for a couple more days, and then we close it for 4 months while the current school is in session. So it's only open about 3 times a year. So if you're new, consider, you know, signing up for the site, checking it out. Now's the time to, you know, jump in while the market's kind of in like a holding pattern. It's not going too crazy. Better to learn how to trade, at least in my opinion, before the next bull hits, not during the bull. You want to learn to trade before. Okay, so Bitcoin. Monthly chart first. I don't like how this monthly candle closed here, the April monthly candle. It wasn't great. This is showing indecision in the market. If we go to the weekly looks like there's potential it's distribution, but it also could just be pausing before another move higher. Let's look at the weekly RSI. Weekly RSI is still holding on along with stochastic RSI, but you did get a breakdown, right? We're still up here in this green zone, indicating, okay, there's still some positive momentum. However, this is actually a short signal in a way for me. The only issue is that we still have this parallel uptrending. We haven't had a breakdown on the 3-day chart really. So if we created a parallel uptrending channel, right? So if we look at this, can we create a parallel channel to the upside? And it would look something like this, right? So that's your parallel channel. You can see these midpoints all lining up nicely. The bottom end of this channel is right here at like 2,500. That's the lowest. You could see it kind of going to maintain this uptrending channel. So something to keep an eye on. You can see how it really plays with these levels, along with this trend heuristic. You see how it tagged the bottom area. This 3-day hasn't broken down. It's interesting the 3-day doesn't look like it's broken down, but the weekly has. If we go to a daily chart, see, I'm watching to see if we break above this downtrend on the daily. If we can break above it, I will feel a lot more bullish, and I can long up to like 33,000. I would long and exit at 33,000. That's the top of this kind of parallel channel it's formed. And also we have almost like a W that could confirm right here, right? So if we broke out, the W points to 3,500, so 33 to 3,500, somewhere in that range is where we could end up. But at the same time, RSI is not looking great right now. It could M out and we get our reversal, and then we do something like this. Okay. Unfortunately, again, it's kind of in like a holding pattern because RSI is stuck right at this VIP level, same as the market. Whenever it's in that area, it's extremely difficult to trade because it often ranges and just goes from one direction to the other direction and back. And that's kind of all that happens. So right now, on at least the 2-hour, it's trending up. But if you get a breakdown, obviously, we're back to trending down. I'm currently on the sidelines. I'm just watching. I exited my longs around 30,000 about 2 weeks ago. So I'm just watching and letting the market range. You can see how it's literally just squeezing here in a way. There's no real clear signal in either direction. I think that post CPI, we might do nothing until the CPI with Bitcoin, and then post CPI something could happen. But for me, I think this rally is getting tired. It's kind of getting ready for a pullback. I'm leaning to the bearish side, but I'm not enough to like short. Right? I'm not going to actively short this because there's just not a big, there's no real serious breakdown yet. Yeah, nothing yet, but it doesn't look great. What I do want to say is that you should be, whenever things are in this VIP area, you should be very careful with trading, especially with leverage. You can, this is when you can lose all your money. When you wanted to trade with leverage was when we had this huge rally and breakout, like right here. Broke out, okay, you could long and ride it all the way up to here. Same here on this big breakout. You could have rode this. But these ranges right here and right here, this is just meant to like wipe you out, take your money. Because they're just going to range from the upside to the downside. I mean, you can trade the range. I guess you could buy at the lows and sell at the highs, and then eventually you'll get stopped out and it'll push through. But most of the time you could make money on the range. So that's how I approach the current environment. I think if the S&P pulls back, Bitcoin will probably follow. So another thing to keep an eye on. Maybe we look at total really quick. Maybe that can give us like a clearer picture. But I really don't think it's that different. Yeah, so breakdown on the weekly, you can see it's stochastic RSI is saying that we do have a divergence. So between price and stochastic. Oops. Let's go back to the total. Yeah, nothing like really concrete. It's just sitting here. So it's so annoying. I guess this is why crypto Twitter keeps flip-flopping. Like up, down, up, down, up, down. It feels like they can't make up their mind. But it's kind of why you also have to watch these lower time frames, right? So 1 hour, okay, reversal, head higher, okay, I'm out, pull back, okay, a rally, okay, pull back, okay, now what's next? Might have to go to even a 30-minute to see what's happening next. 15-minute, yeah, even right here is very unclear. I think you could go either way. It's just ranging, waiting for a certain news event, and then it's going to take a direction. But right now, I think it's just running down option premium. I do think a move will eventually be decided because it is the beginning of the month, and markets generally move around the beginning of the month, and then by the end of the month, they sit and let options expire worthless, and then at the beginning, they do the same thing again. It has a lot to do with options. Options have a huge effect on the market because market makers want to make sure those options expire worthless. Okay, so that's... Yes, thank you. We are coming up on 30 minutes. Any last questions before we call it a day? I feel like I didn't give you guys too much great action today. You can see the S&P is kind of reversing here. So maybe we do end up at that 4,100 area, which is max pain by Friday. And then we see what happens going into next week. We might even just go into next week and range. Everything just ranges until CPI. And then we do this, and then CPI decides a direction. That's what could happen, honestly. Oh, wow. Okay, well. Thank you, Bleeding Crypto, for tuning in. Thank you. 6 years ago. It's been so long. Holy crap. Okay, so if no last questions, I will call it a day. Relax with the trading the next couple days. We're probably going to range. I would recommend highly trading it like a range. Don't don't go too hard in either direction and wait until post CPI. I know it's frustrating and annoying, but that's kind of the that's the market state we're in right now. All right, you guys have a if you are a member of TRI, join us in the after party where I'm going to go over any individual stocks and crypto that anyone wants to talk about. If you're not a member, consider joining. The Discord is it's pretty active these days now that we're on Discord. And again, the new school starts in just 4 days, 4 or 5 days. It starts on Monday, which is, what is Monday? The 8th. It starts on the 8th. So, consider signing up before then if you're interested, and then understand that then if you miss this one, the next one is not for until September. So I know myself as like a semi-impatient person, I would be pissed if I missed something like that. Okay. See you guys in the after party. And if not, have a great weekend. And I will see you next week after the CPI report. All right. Bye, everybody.